I now understand what it truly is. And it has little to do with acting. In the 1980s, Mickey Rourke was Hollywood's golden boy. Handsome, talented, and working with top directors. Yet at his fame's peak, he made a life-altering choice. He left acting to return to boxing, a sport that had nearly cost him his life in youth. What followed was a transformation so profound, many barely recognized him. Born Philip Andre Rourke Jr. on September 16, 1952, in Schenectady, New York, he had Irish and French roots. His father, Philip Sr., an amateur bodybuilder, left when Mickey was 6. After his parents' divorce, his mother, Anne, remarried Eugene Addis, a Miami Beach police officer with 5 sons, and the family moved to southern Florida, where Mickey suddenly had many stepbrothers. Growing up in Miami was tough. Raised Catholic and attending church regularly, he returned to faith later in life during dark times. But as a teen, his focus was on sports, especially boxing. At 12, Mickey won his first boxing match as a 112-pound flyweight, training first at the Boys Club of Miami, then at the legendary 5th Street Gym in Miami Beach, where Muhammad Ali once trained. Deeply committed, by 1969, at 17 and 140 pounds, he sparred with former world welterweight champion Luis Rodriguez, preparing for a title fight, suffering his first concussion. 2 years later, at the 1971 Florida Golden Gloves, he suffered another concussion, and doctors advised a year off. At 19, Mickey had 27 wins, 3 losses, and 17 knockouts as an amateur, showing promise for a pro career. But the concussion scared him, so he stepped away. During this break, a friend from the University of Miami told him about a play he was directing, Death Watch. The lead quit, and Mickey took the role. Something clicked. He found a way to channel intensity without physical harm. Borrowing $400 from his sister, he moved to New York to study acting. Breaking into Hollywood, he trained under Sandra Seacat at the Actors Studio. Legend says his audition was so powerful that Elia Kazan called it the best in 30 years. Accepted into the prestigious studio, Mickey trained with top actors. Harvey Keitel became a friend and mentor, guiding him in the method, uncovering character truth and using personal pain to fuel performances. His screen debut came in 1979, with a small role in Spielberg's 1941. Though forgettable, it marked his first screen appearance. In 1980, he had a minor role in Fade to Black, but his 1981 performance in Body Heat drew attention. Playing an arsonist opposite William Hurt and Kathleen Turner, his limited screen time was electrifying, and critics noticed this handsome young actor with a dangerous edge. Barry Levinson's ensemble film about young men in 1950s Baltimore finding their way. Mickey portrayed Boogie Sheftel, a smooth-talking ladies' man and gambler who hustled pool to pay debts, cementing his rising Hollywood status. This role showcased his ability to blend charm with a roguish edge, earning him recognition as an actor who could bring complex characters to life with authenticity and nuance. His combination of physical presence, emotional depth, and an almost palpable intensity on screen made him stand out among his peers, setting the stage for a career that promised both critical and commercial success. Rourke's early career was marked by a steady climb, with each role building on the last, demonstrating his versatility and dedication to his craft, which would later contrast sharply with his unexpected decision to return to the brutal world of boxing. The cast featured Paul Reiser, Daniel Stern, Steve Guttenberg, Kevin Bacon, and Tim Daly, all of whom went on to have successful careers. But Mickey truly distinguished himself. That year, the National Society of Film Critics honored him as the Best Supporting Actor. In 1983, Francis Ford Coppola cast him in Rumblefish, where he portrayed the motorcycle boy alongside Matt Dillon. This art house film was moody and stylized, and Mickey imbued his character with a poetic depth. Critics drew comparisons between him and legends like Marlon Brando and James Dean, marking him as a rising star at just 30 years old. In 1984, he starred in The Pope of Greenwich Village alongside Eric Roberts and Daryl Hannah, playing a petty thief attempting one last big score. While the film didn't perform well at the box office, critics praised Mickey's compelling performance. He was steadily building a reputation as one of the most gifted actors of his generation, someone unafraid to take risks and committed to bringing authenticity to every role. Seeking to avoid the mistakes of his earlier work, he was entering the peak of his fame. In 1985, Michael Cimino directed him in Year of the Dragon, where Mickey played Captain Stanley White, a racist New York City detective obsessed with taking down a Chinese-American drug lord portrayed by John Lone. The film stirred controversy for perpetuating Asian stereotypes, but Mickey's intense and committed performance was widely recognized. European audiences, particularly in France, embraced the film and saw Mickey as a rebellious, dangerous American actor who defied Hollywood conventions. Then came 9.5 Weeks in 1986, directed by Adrian Lyne, where Mickey starred opposite Kim Basinger in an erotic drama exploring a sadomasochistic relationship. The film pushed boundaries with its explicit sexual content and bombed at the American box office, earning just $6.7 million domestically. However, it became a sensation in Europe and found a large audience on home video, turning Mickey into a sex symbol overnight. The iconic scene of him feeding Basinger strawberries in front of the refrigerator became emblematic. Adrian Lyne later remarked that if Mickey had died after Angel Heart, he would have become bigger than James Dean. Released in 1987, Angel Heart was Mickey's darkest role yet. He played a private detective hired to find a missing person, but soon became entangled in a supernatural conspiracy. Co-starring Robert De Niro and Lisa Bonet, the film's explicit sex scene between Mickey and Bonet sparked major controversy, especially since Bonet was still known for her role on The Cosby Show. The film initially received an X rating before cuts secured an R rating. Mickey's haunting performance contributed to the movie's cult classic status. That same year, he starred in Barfly as Henry Chinaski, the alcoholic alter ego of Charles Bukowski. To prepare, Mickey spent time with Bukowski, studying his mannerisms, speech, and worldview. His raw, honest portrayal, combined with the electric chemistry he shared with co-star Faye Dunaway, proved he was capable of much more than just playing the handsome leading man. He could embody broken, desperate characters and evoke genuine empathy. Beyond acting, Mickey was also writing. In 1988, he wrote the screenplay for Homeboy, a boxing drama in which he also starred as a troubled fighter. Though the film was not a commercial success, it showcased Mickey's ambitions beyond acting. He wanted creative control and to tell meaningful stories. By the late 1980s, Mickey Rourke was among Hollywood's most sought-after actors, having worked with acclaimed directors like Spielberg, Cimino, Coppola, and Lyne, and was earning substantial income from his flourishing career. He enjoyed widespread fame and critical acclaim during his career peak, becoming one of the most recognizable and celebrated actors of his generation, admired for his intense performances and magnetic screen presence. Yet behind the glamorous facade of red carpet events, magazine covers, and fan adulation, Mickey was self-destructing in ways that insidiously eroded not only his professional standing, but also his personal well-being. Acting, which had once been the core of his passion and identity, a craft he approached with dedication and enthusiasm, gradually transformed into a monotonous and uninspiring job that he no longer respected or found fulfilling. This loss of artistic joy left him deeply disillusioned with the very industry that had once celebrated him as a rising star and creative force. His growing arrogance and increasingly difficult behavior on set and in negotiations alienated directors, producers, and colleagues alike, leading to a series of professional setbacks as he burned bridges and isolated himself within the tightly knit circles of Hollywood. Rather than embracing opportunities that might have revitalized his career and showcased his talents, such as turning down highly successful roles in landmark films like Rain Man and Top Gun, he instead chose to pursue risky and unconventional projects that consistently failed at the box office and with critics. Behind closed doors, he was simultaneously battling serious and escalating drug and alcohol abuse issues, which he carefully concealed from the public and many of his friends, despite their growing concerns and attempts to intervene. In 1990, he starred in the commercial failures Desperate Hours and Wild Orchid, during which time he also began a turbulent and highly publicized romance with actress Kelly Lynch, adding another layer of complexity and stress to his personal life. His altered and gaunt appearance during this period sparked a wave of rumors about possible plastic surgery and serious health problems, further fueling media speculation about his declining condition. In 1991, he appeared in Harley-Davidson and the Marlboro Man, a film that was critically panned and marked a significant low point in his career trajectory, deepening the sense of decline and lost potential. Frustrated and seeking a new sense of purpose and identity outside of acting, he made the surprising decision to quit the profession and pursue a career in boxing, hoping that the physical and mental discipline of the sport might offer redemption and a fresh start. At the age of 39, an age considered late for a professional boxer, he turned professional and began training under the legendary coach Mickey Rourke, demonstrating remarkable dedication despite the physical toll. He compiled an impressive 6-0-2 record, showcasing unexpected skill and tenacity, even as he suffered severe injuries, including broken bones and concussions. Ignoring repeated medical warnings about the risk of irreversible brain damage, he continued to fight until retiring at the age of 42, by which time his face was severely disfigured, necessitating multiple reconstructive surgeries. With no viable acting prospects left and facing significant financial hardship, he entered a prolonged wilderness period marked by social isolation, a series of poor decisions, and a difficult journey toward physical and emotional recovery. This phase of his life was characterized by a struggle to regain stability and reconnect with his former self amid the shadows of his past successes and failures. He later publicly acknowledged that most of his surgeries were attempts to repair the damage caused by boxing, but unfortunately, he chose the wrong surgeons to reconstruct his face, resulting in disastrous outcomes. His once handsome features were replaced by a swollen, distorted visage. His nose appeared altered, his cheeks were puffy, and his entire face looked fundamentally changed. Instead of restoring his appearance, the surgeries made him look like a completely different person. Hollywood, which had admired him for both his looks and talent, was uncertain how to handle this new version of Mickey Rourke. Throughout the late 1990s, the roles he secured were minor and easily forgotten. In 1997, he had a supporting role in The Rainmaker, a John Grisham adaptation directed by Francis Ford Coppola, which was a favor from an old friend. The following year, he appeared as a bookie in Vincent Gallo's Buffalo 66, and in 2000, he featured in Animal Factory and Get Carter, both of which failed to make an impact. In 2001, Sean Penn cast him in The Pledge alongside Jack Nicholson. Although grateful for the work, these parts were not leads. Instead, he was often cast as villains or thugs, roles that leveraged his altered appearance to portray menacing characters. In his personal life, he married Carrie Otis in 1992. But the marriage was troubled from the beginning due to mutual struggles with substance abuse, resulting in a volatile relationship marked by frequent fights and reconciliations before their divorce in 1998. Mickey later reflected on how lost he was during this period, how he had destroyed his career, relationships, and even his own face, hitting rock bottom. Nevertheless, he never stopped working, taking whatever roles he could find, often in low-budget action films that went straight to video, simply to make ends meet after exhausting the fortune he had earned in the 1980s. Friends reported he was living modestly in a small apartment with his dogs, barely getting by. The once celebrated Hollywood heartthrob had become a cautionary tale about ego, poor decisions, and the harsh reality of an industry that moves on without you. His comeback began in 2005 when Robert Rodriguez was casting for Sin City, an adaptation of Frank Miller's graphic novels, filmed with a distinctive visual style, relying heavily on green screen and CGI to replicate Miller's stark, black-and-white comic book aesthetic. Rodriguez needed someone to portray Marv, a hulking, violent antihero with a battered face. Someone who looked like they had endured hell and survived. He cast Mickey Rourke, who uniquely understood Marv's character as a bruiser discarded by society, beaten down so many times he no longer felt the pain. Mickey brought all his personal experiences, boxing, surgeries, failures, years of obscurity, into the role, delivering a ferocious performance. When Sin City premiered, Critics and audiences were reminded that Mickey Rourke was more than a washed-up has-been. He was a powerful actor with depth. The film earned $158 million worldwide, and Mickey received several awards, including recognition from the Chicago Film Critics Association. Hollywood began to take notice again, sensing that Mickey still had much to offer. Over the next 3 years, he appeared in supporting roles in larger films like Tony Scott's Domino in 2005, and made a brief but memorable appearance as Wild Bill Hickok in the pilot episode of HBO's Deadwood in 2007. While these were not leading roles, they were quality projects helmed by respected directors, indicating Mickey's gradual rebuilding and proving he could still perform at a high level. Then came the call that would change everything. A young child was staring at me, clutching his mother's leg and suddenly bursting into tears, which made me realize that I probably looked quite frightening to him. Darren Aronofsky, the director, was working on a film about a washed-up professional wrestler trying to reconnect with his estranged daughter while confronting his own mortality. The script, written by Robert Siegel, was dark and intimate. Initially, Nicolas Cage was attached to play the lead role of Randy the Ram Robinson, but he eventually dropped out. Aronofsky needed someone who could fully embody the physical and emotional devastation of a man who had sacrificed everything for his career and was left with nothing. He thought of Mickey Rourke. When Mickey first read the script, he wasn't impressed. He felt the writer hadn't spent enough time around wrestlers and didn't capture how they spoke or thought. However, wanting to work with Aronofsky, Mickey asked if he could rewrite his own dialogue, which Aronofsky agreed to. Mickey then took the script and transformed Randy into a character infused with his own experiences of being broken, discarded, and desperate for one last chance. The wrestler was filmed in 2007 on a modest budget. Mickey trained extensively to look like an aging wrestler, gaining muscle mass and learning how to take bumps in the ring. He worked with actual professional wrestlers to ensure the matches appeared authentic, and spent time in places like strip clubs and dive bars, environments where Randy would have spent his nights, fully immersing himself in the role. When the wrestler premiered at the Venice Film Festival in 2008, the reaction was overwhelming. Critics were stunned, not just by a good performance, but by Mickey Rourke laying himself bare, exposing every scar, regret, and ounce of pain he had accumulated over the years. The parallels between Mickey's life and Randy's were impossible to ignore. Both had been stars, both had self-destructed, and both were fighting to claw their way back to relevance, while their bodies betrayed them. The film won the Golden Lion at Venice, and when it opened in the United States, the acclaim only grew. Mickey won the Golden Globe for Best Actor in a Drama, and the BAFTA Award for Best Actor. He was also nominated for the Academy Award for Best Actor, though he did not win the Oscar. Sean Penn took home the award for Milk. Nevertheless, Mickey achieved something far more important than a trophy. He proved that comebacks were possible, and that talent could survive even the worst self-destruction. After The Wrestler, Mickey was back in demand. He admitted he wasn't sure if he wanted to work that hard, or revisit those dark, painful places again. In 2010, he played the villain Whiplash in Iron Man 2, opposite Robert Downey Jr., a massive box office hit that earned $623 million worldwide. He also appeared in The Expendables, 2010, and Immortals, 2011, both big-budget productions that paid well and kept him working. He was once again a legitimate actor, though he continued to struggle with his appearance. By his own account, he had undergone 6 major facial surgeries, 5 on his nose and 1 on his cheekbone, to repair damage caused by boxing and previous botched surgeries. Mickey has been remarkably candid about his regrets, admitting that returning to boxing was a mistake, that choosing the wrong surgeons worsened the damage, and that his arrogance and self-destructive behavior cost him roles and relationships he could never recover. He has openly discussed his struggles with addiction, crediting his Catholic faith for giving him a second chance at sobriety. Throughout the 2000s, 2010s, and into the 2020s, Mickey's work became more sporadic. He appeared in smaller films, took supporting roles, and occasionally appeared in direct-to-video productions. By 2022, Mickey Rourke had undergone numerous MRAs to evaluate the long-term impacts of his boxing injuries and concussions, with the brain damage he had been warned about decades earlier remaining a serious concern. Then, in 2025, at the age of 72, Mickey once again made headlines by joining the British reality show Celebrity Big Brother, a surprising move that was entirely in line with his unconventional nature. Throughout his life, Mickey had always followed his own path, doing what felt right to him regardless of public opinion. Reflecting on his career, it's impossible not to wonder about the alternate paths he might have taken. What if he had stayed in Hollywood back in 1991, never returned to boxing, chosen better surgeons, or controlled his self-destructive tendencies? The hypothetical version of Mickey Rourke who made all the right choices might have become one of the biggest stars of the 1990s and 2000s, amassing a shelf full of Oscars and retaining the handsome face that initially brought him fame. But that's not the Mickey Rourke we know. Instead, we have the man who spectacularly self-destructed, who walked away from fame to endure 3 years of brutal boxing, returned looking unrecognizable, yet somehow delivered one of the most powerful performances of the 2000s in The Wrestler. This messy, painful journey created a story far more compelling than any conventional Hollywood success. Mickey's transformation has come to symbolize both the dangers of plastic surgery and the potential for redemption. His face tells a complex story, one of pride, punishment, mistakes, and survival, where every line, scar, and unnatural contour marks a chapter in a life lived on his own terms, regardless of the consequences. He influenced a generation of actors inspired by his raw, method-acting style in the 1980s, encouraging them to embrace vulnerability and portray authentic masculinity on screen. The Wrestler stands as proof that true talent doesn't vanish even when everything else falls apart. Mickey Rourke will be remembered not only for his talent, but also for his self-destruction and remarkable comeback, as well as iconic films like 9.5 Weeks, Angel Heart, Barfly, and The Wrestler. He will also be recalled as a cautionary tale about the perils of ego and poor decisions, and for the dramatic transformation of his face, which serves as a permanent reminder that some choices cannot be undone. So what really happened to Mickey Rourke? He rose to become one of the most talented actors of his generation, destroyed himself through pride and bad decisions, lost everything that had made him famous, and then fought his way back to deliver a performance that reminded the world why he mattered in the first place. His career nearly ended, but his talent endured. This is not simply a story of tragedy or triumph, but something more complex and deeply human. Mickey Rourke happened to Mickey Rourke, and against all odds, he's still here. Still working, still being true to himself, even when that's the hardest thing to do. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe to our channel so you never miss more fascinating stories. Mickey's story serves as a powerful reminder that behind the glamour and fame, there's often a fragile human being grappling with their own demons. His life teaches us about resilience, the cost of chasing perfection, and the importance of embracing imperfections as part of our unique journeys. Whether remembered for his iconic roles or his personal battles, Mickey Rourke's legacy continues to inspire both caution and admiration in equal measure.